I learned, I should have known this before, but I learned manspreading thanks to Leo.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
God damn it.
What?
God damn it.
Because at that part in the beginning where he's sitting on the chair and his legs are spread out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's manspreading.
Yeah.
That term just sounds kind of gross, and I'm not sure why. Like, I feel kind of like I need to go take a shower just hearing it. I don't know.
Oh no!
きっと約束だよいつかまた同じ笑顔で
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the box, the Annie chat box, where 5 friends snuggle up in a teeny tiny space to talk about all things anime. This is episode 129, and I am here as your host. My name is Dominic. I am on this podcast.
Yes, you are.
Are you sure?
I don't remember the last time I was on it, but today I'm on it.
You are.
So, before I announce everybody, because this is more important than everybody else, originally we were supposed to talk, Cassie passed Fire Force, when did it air?
Summer 2019.
It's aired in summer, she passed it. Turns out, she didn't actually end up liking it that much. So, instead of reviewing that, Promare, had its English, US showing in theaters a little while back. I think it currently still is in a lot of places because it did so well. So we were like, hey, you know how you passed that bad firefighter anime? Let's talk about a good firefighter anime.
Listen, at the end of the day, I'm just like, listen. Let me pull you a little close. Let me whisper a couple little somethings in your hair. Or ear. The thing is, this is our podcast, and we want to talk about good anime sometimes, so fuck you. Basically.
I mean, I don't think anybody was really fighting you on Fire Force or...
No, not really.
but,
I just promised Cammie to make some sort of comment similar to that.
Oh yeah!
Going in here. So, yeah, the thing is, we don't really get to talk about film on this podcast very often. I think the very few films we talked about were early on in our podcasting days when we were doing kind of like a host choice kind of setup. Mm-hmm. We just kind of brought new things to the table. So we reviewed A Silent Voice previously, and we reviewed Summer Wars. And there was no real place for us to fit Promare in unless we wanted to do another host choice and pick a movie. And I thought, well, I would rather us talk about this and our thoughts in a full-length episode instead of making you pay for it to listen to it in a Box Bits episode. So you're welcome.
So it's the hostility, but it actually comes from a generous place. You're like one of those like fierce little kittens that's like super adorable, but it's like, "Rawr, I'm a predator."
Yes. Though seriously,
anyways,
you're upset we're not reviewing Fire Force. Send us an email and I'll read it.
How dare you?
We'll read it. We'll read it, but we might not actually review it. Anyways, so now I can introduce everybody. Right in the room behind me, we have Gregory.
Hey, I'm here. I talked about this movie once. I'm here again. I feel like I'm in Groundhog's Day. Check out Save Our Progress's Anime Movie Night, SoundCloud.com/Save Our Progress, when me and Zach have essentially gushed about this movie for a good hour and a half.
They did. You should check it out. That's where they talk about movies, because we don't talk about movies very much.
Essentially.
And then all the way on the other side of the continent, we got Cammie.
Hey, I'm here. That was so energized. Thank you. I was about to just be like, sup, but now I'm like, oh shit, energy, random energy. Glad to be here.
Melon energy.
Melon energy.
Oh no.
Soda. And then out in our living room, we have our lovely producer, and reason that we're not reviewing Fire Force today. Cassie! Yay!
I'm not even putting up a tough front because I think any of our listeners will attack me. I'm just that angry about Fire Force. Like, I just really hate that anime so much. And it makes me mad because the first episode, I was like, I have a new son. I have a new David production thing for me to love. I'm so in love with this production. And then, you know, it just kept going. And yeah, I'm so sad.
But you have a new son.
It's true. I got a new one. We'll talk about him later.
You got a new son. So, today we're reviewing Promare. Or Promare.
Yeah, Promare.
Promare, however you want to pronounce it.
Poker face.
Ooh.
No, stop that. It's by Studio Trigger. If you don't know Studio Trigger, the other shows they have done include Kill la Kill, Space Patrol Luluco, and SSSS.Gridman. It aired originally in spring 2019 in Japan, but obviously it aired, in like end of summer, fall over here. So, the synopsis is as follows. 30 years have passed since the appearance of Burnish, a race of flame-wielding mutant beings who destroyed half the world with fire. When a new group of aggressive mutants calling themselves Mad Burnish appears, the epic battle between Gallo Thymos, a new member of the anti-Burnish rescue team Burning Rescue, and Leo Fotia, the leader of Mad Burnish, begins. That's anime. That's my anime list's entire synopsis. So.
To be fair, that's really as much as you can say about this.
Yeah, that's pretty much the basic plot. It's not super in depth because it is a movie.
Yes.
So we're going to do our pretty standard format for this review. So starting with the story, does anybody have any jumping points they absolutely need to talk about? Get out right away with story.
I will say, sitting in the theater, the first 2 minutes of this movie, where you're just set up to basically learn about the Burnish through what seems like a lot of just incidents that are interspersedly happening, and then it's mixed in with news reporting and stuff. Yeah. I was instantly hooked. I thought that was just such a really good way to open the film. So big props to them for that. You just got fed these little pieces of information and then you got to see it all. Nicely done, Trigger.
Yeah, it was a nice way to build up what the show or the movie is about on one end, and also kind of give you this sort of relatability aspect. Because a lot of the people who are becoming Burnish in that segment are people who are dealing with things that are kind of just pissing them off.
yeah it's high tension and everybody experiences that.
It was really nice.
And thank God we don't set on fire and I feel like we'd all be burned out by now if that was the case.
There would be nothing left of me by this point.
Yeah, Cassie would just be a pile of ashes. in her work chair.
Oh no!
It's just one too far.
I'd come home, there'd be just ashes and then some glasses on top of the work chair.
Damn.
It's funny because it's true.
I'd be fucking detrimental because I'd probably set fire whilst in the library. Books are made of paper.
No.
Fucking
this
got
really fucking morbid really quickly.
Yeah, oof.
Big woof.
Yeah.
I think that the thing that I like about the story, quote unquote, you can't see, I'm doing the little finger thing, in quotes.
Finger quotes.
Yeah, because the story, if I'm being honest, is not all that great, because there's so many ADHD points that are never actually brought back. But that's the thing. It's the person who wrote this had a lot of really cool ideas, but a lot of the things that are introduced at the beginning of the film absolutely never come back for any real reason. Mm-hmm. You're set up to believe at first that the whole movie is going to be fair, this is also to its benefit, but you think it's going to be all about the fire force, not the fire force, god damn it. The burning
rescue.
fire burning rescue.
Burning rescue.
Yeah, and I was thinking, oh, cool. And they even introduce each character with like a really cool little flip card.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, yeah, these are going to be the focal characters of this story. Little did I know. Almost none of them matter.
Yeah.
Which is a little frustrating.
It would have been nice to see more, and there's a part of me that's also like, I hope this gets to like its own anime series or something at some point, and maybe it'll flesh things out a bit more. But also at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I want that. On the other hand, I don't know if I want that because the movie's so good.
Yeah.
It is, and I think that the parts of the movie that it wants to focus on, specifically towards the end, it nails really well. But there's also, like, these really interesting themes they explore, like, for example, I don't know, mass genocide.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's just kind of there as a set piece, and then we never talk about it again. So it's like, there's a lot of really big things this movie is doing, and then it just kind of leaves things to the wayside. To be fair, this is so very Trigger. Because if you think about it, like, Gurren Lagann starts out as a movie where people are being oppressed, and then they try and rise above, you know, their circumstances, and then by the end they're throwing galaxies around. You know, it's the Trigger formula.
Oh, completely.
Well, they were used to be Gynex, but you know what I mean.
Fuck the system. Imaishi and basically his buddy, his screenwriter, basically are like, fuck the system. And I'm actually trying to pull up his name because I honestly forgot it. Kazuki Nakashima. Both of them wrote this movie, wrote Kill la Kill, wrote Gurren Lagann. Yeah, it's got they all have a coming of age sort of thing, an epic, also while trying to beat their oppressors.
Yes, yeah. I was right after I think I saw it the first time. I was talking about this with someone on Twitter, and because they had made a post mentioning about how interesting it is that a lot of what's going on in this film kind of mirrors certain things that are happening in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like literal
Ice Age.
Like,
yeah. And I was like, I have no idea if that was intentional,
right.
But I think that's a big reason why it resonates a lot with people over here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I had the same conversation with a friend of the podcast, Rin, and a couple of others, where I was like, yeah, that's a little almost too on the nose. Like, I feel like it probably wasn't intentional, but I feel like it's in some way that they're relating to something similar. You know, like, they know that stuff like this is happening somewhere in the world, and it's a very weirdly, I don't know, well-depicted way of how the cruelty is managed in a lot of places.
It's just even niche things. It's definitely that these are ICE agents, but, like, even the fact that they are storming a restaurant, arresting somebody for working a trade, that that scene, actually, for me, probably just because of the comparison, was one of the most, like, powerful scenes in the film to me. Like, this guy literally just wants to work and make pizza, and we're gonna just bust in here, arrest him. Like, man, that was good.
Racism is bad.
Yeah, and then, like, of course, the thing that I thought was really also powerful about that scene is that Gallo gets immediately upset, and they're like, listen, you can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I know! And then he storms off on his bike, and I'm like, you know, that's a big mood, because, like, we're in a situation in our country now where it's like, what can we do?
Yeah.
You get mad, but what can we do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck the system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's because, like, the picture of racism in this movie and just how minority groups are segregated to this day is a really poignant point that I feel like is lost in the second half of the movie.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, but I do think it's still there and it's important, and I do think even though it's not blatantly stated, I think there is this feeling of liberation at the end, especially with one particular scene of where Leo is, like, letting go of, like, a part of himself without going into spoilers. It's kind of like, we've, you know, destroyed the system, and now this part of us that has been, you know, the cause, we can let go.
Mm-hmm.
because we're still different, but we don't need to have this element to define us as different, I guess, is how
Interesting.
That's how I kind of interpreted it.
Interesting.
Everybody can interpret it differently.
Yeah.
But I just I thought it was a beautiful little moment of letting go of your trauma.
I think my favorite parts of this film are when the film focused on show don't tell, and I think that there are some good examples. I think that the beginning, I think the scene in the restaurant's in between because there is really good dialogue, but it feels more natural. And then the scene that you mentioned, I think my least favorite part story-wise, and like I get why they did it, is just the big exposition dump near the last half. For me, that was like, yeah, okay, I'm here. But they also added some meta humor to it, which I think also is why I really enjoyed Gallo's character, with the way that the characters basically reacted to the exposition dump. And like, I get it because they had to pace the film and work through it, and they approached it like kind of almost breaking the fourth wall. So I can't really fault them for that. But I think that that bit, in contrast to me, was like a little weaker story-wise.
Just because I'm a Trigger fan, I felt like that was almost just a joke inside of itself, because it's like, oh, you want an explanation? Well, here's one in 3 minutes. Bye. Like, it even came down to, like, why were we the chosen ones? And it's like, you really weren't. It just, I think I get why it wouldn't, like, resonate with some people, and it definitely does seem like a lot of information to just jump at the end, especially because it brings into question, like, aliens and different, dimensions and shit like that. And it's like, okay, yeah. But those are things that Trigger has been made fun of for having in their works. So I think that it's just kind of like a subtle nod to the audience, kind of like a small middle finger to the audience. Like, you want an explanation? Here you go. Yeah, like a playful way.
Yeah, it's like playful meta, and I can appreciate it. I think just for me, that was less of what I liked, I guess, as opposed to some of the other scenes. But I think you're absolutely right, because as you said, this is in so many forms a love letter to Trigger and Imaishi's work.
It's just a very manic movie if you just look at it in terms of its story, because it has a lot of really interesting elements, but it just focuses so much on one-upping itself every time it gets an opportunity. So then sometimes it just doesn't make any sense, and then you just have to just go, yeah, this is what they want us to be feeling. They want you to be feeling confusion. They want you to be laughing at the name of the robots.
As your eyes are literally melting out of your sockets.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that in production.
Good point.
I actually, I can't remember if I mentioned it to Dominic or somebody else, but I was like, why was there not like an epilepsy warning at the beginning of that movie? Because, I feel like that movie could easily cause somebody a seizure.
I feel like the assumption now is you're going to see an anime. You should probably be prepared for that, but...
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, I think you talked about me with that, because we mentioned that Spider-Verse had a epilepsy warning on it.
Yeah, and there was a lot less stuff in Spider-Verse that I feel like would have even caused that kind of a reaction in comparison. I feel like this movie has so much going on screen about 87% of the time.
Yeah, that's a great percentage guess there. That's awesome.
Yeah, like your eyes are constantly looking at least 7 different things 87% of the time. Unless there's like a quiet moment or a moment of one character on screen by themselves, but that very rarely occurs. But I've been rambling a lot. What did you guys also think about the story overall, I guess?
I thought it was fine. But, I mean, like, Cammie brought up the exposition thing, and to me, that was, like, in kind of what Cassie said, hey, we don't need an explanation, and I think that's part of why Trigger succeeds at this kind of stuff, is they're good at giving you something that's entertaining and fun to watch. And, it doesn't always necessarily make sense, but it doesn't have to. Yeah. And so, and it's like that whole scene is just like, we're just kind of explaining things just to move the plot to where we need it to be, and to get to the kind of climax that we want to show you. to me it's fine. And they made me laugh while doing it, so
Yeah.
pretty cool with it.
They're just like, you guys want an explanation? Here you go. LOL.
Yeah. But yeah, the plot otherwise is it's very pretty standard for Gainax or Trigger or Maishi's work in general. So I don't have too much to really say about it. I do like to describe it as the plot is just, himbo firefighter and his Antifa BF fight ice. That's my general description of this movie's plot, which
I learned a new word coming out of this movie. I never knew what Antifa was. And now I do. And I'm really happy about it.
Surprised you never knew.
I never knew. I learned something new.
I learned, I should have known this before, but I learned manspreading thanks to Leo.
Wait,
yeah.
What?
God damn it.
What?
God damn it.
Because at that part in the beginning where he's sitting on the chair and his legs are spread out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's manspreading.
Yeah.
That term just sounds kind of gross, and I'm not sure why. Like, I feel kind of like I need to go take a shower just hearing it. I don't know.
Oh, no.
I don't want a man spreading anything.
I mean, that's what it was, though. Everyone was like, oh my god, here's that gif of Leo manspreading. Like, I just saw that all over Twitter.
I need to recover.
Confliction.
I'm so conflicted.
From manspreading?
Yes. Manspreading has ruined my life.
Excuse me, whilst when we go into characters, after Cassie talks about Leo, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, that time when you manspread. It's great, right? Yeah. I also feel, though, like everything's pretty much been touched on in story. Definitely, like y'all have said, I feel like it is beneficial for viewers to be familiar with Trigger's work, so they're not, like, super tilted, I guess, if they're, like, really big story nuts. Like, I had a small theater, but, like, the people that walked out were like, oh, that was so bad, nothing made sense. And I'm like, what the fuck did you expect? Like, this is a Trigger movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Everybody loved it over here. Like me and Cassie saw it twice.
Yeah.
Both dubbed.
This is why you need the Portland crowd. The people who are
so
stoned out of their mind, they don't give a shit.
I actually
everybody here loved it.
So there was the like first premiere in Maryland, and I actually have an acquaintance that lives here who went to that. We went to a really late showing. We went to like the late night showing after they added extended showings. So there were like 6 people. Yeah. So I really do wish also, like, I guess this kind of falls into story. Like, I think best viewing experience for this film is like what you guys had, which is of course, big screen theater, but also with just a hyped up crowd. Like, I feel like that's the best way to witness this movie.
Yeah, I will say we had the slight discomfort of sitting like right, like not even like comfortably in front, but like three rows in. Ooh. Like right next to the screen. And the thing about this movie, and we can talk about this more in production, is that the screen is so big and there's so much going on, it's hard to focus on it all when you're literally right in front of it.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I actually had a massive migraine the next day, and I'm pretty sure it was due to experiencing this movie as close to the screen as I did.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But
so yeah, unless somebody else has something else to say, we can jump on the characters.
You mean one of the best parts?
Yeah, girl.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna go first.
Yeah. Okay, who wants to go first? I guess I get to go first. So me and Cassie have the same favorite character, which is Leo. Leo Fotia, I guess you can call him, he's set up to be basically the anti-hero of this movie. He's, to me, and now that I've seen it, He's just Gallo's boyfriend. That's Leo.
But so much very more.
Yeah. And so the thing about Leo is he's very cool and also not cuz
He's made of fire.
He's made of fire. Siri turned on randomly. That was not
Mine did
intentional.
that a second ago too, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, that's
We're being
weird.
hacked, guys.
Yeah. Sorry.
Skynet is real.
It's true.
It's that new iOS 13. It's not working correctly.
Gives you dark mode, but it also causes lots of shade.
Oof.
Wow. I hope you're proud of that one.
I am. Please continue
But yeah,
talking about my son.
Yeah. So Leo is. It's funny because in the dub he's voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, which is kind of funny because he still sounds pretty much almost exactly like he normally does, except he tries to like lower his voice a little bit just to sound like super cool. And I was kind of like smirking every time he talked the entire movie, but his Japanese voice actor like completely knocks it in the park. I was sitting next to Cassie when we were watching in Japanese. I was like, oh my god, he's like way hotter in Japanese. And yeah, so he's just so cool. He has one of my favorite, just absolute wonderful, most mesmerizing moments for me in the entire film, which is when he like comes back, I guess, is like resurgence, if you want to call it that.
Yes.
And then the Dragon Ball Z opening starts playing in the background.
Ugh.
Yeah, his theme.
Yep.
His theme is really good.
That's my favorite song in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like Leo a lot. I'm still retweeting art of him even now on Twitter.
This movie has spawned the most amount of fandom, like the quickest fandom I've ever seen grow. Literally, the moment the movie dropped, and my Twitter timeline has never been the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everybody's even seen it. That's the funny thing.
It's just so aesthetically pleasing. Like, we gotta hop on this
Yeah.
bandwagon.
Yeah.
Actually, legit, I was in the Banana Fish tag a few days ago because I'm a masochist, and I was looking up fan art, and someone was like, they drew 2 characters from Banana Fish, but like as Gallo and Leo, because they were like, I see that. So it spreads to other fandoms too, in the best ways.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of crossovers and stuff like that, which is pretty neato.
Yeah.
Neato burrito.
Yeah.
What about you, Craig? Who's your favorite character?
If you listen to our anime movie night episode, I joked that Lucia Fex is the best girl in the movie because she is literally the in-joke, what I call the voice actresses for both productions, English and Japanese, are on speed dial. She's basically the voice actress for Haruko in both English and Japanese. Kari Walgren and Mayumi Shintani. She has been in basically all of Trigger's productions, Kill la Kill, Space Patrol Luluko, Gridman, and you're like, okay, I like this girl. Not only because of the end joke here, because she's on, like, Imaishi speed dial, but also she's a scientist and she likes robots and, like, basically making the coolest fucking mech for Gallo to essentially do, like, some some cool ass, like, stage play sort of shit with his entrances. And I'm like, she gets really into it. And the fact that she's like, yeah, I want to just make you the coolest robot. And at a certain point, she's like, how did you got another robot? That you didn't tell me? That's cool. And I'm like, yeah. All right, I like your energy. Also the end joke.
Also, she controls things with a fight stick, so I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I would have seen more of her. I wish I would have seen more of their
Burning
like
Rescue.
troop anyway, but she's
Rescue.
just more Burning Rescue. I think that she has a really fun personality. I think that she has a really nice design.
Mm-hmm.
I liked her voice more in Japanese than I did in English.
Yeah. This show, character-wise, is very much focused on the main 2 leads.
It's
honestly.
like Gallo, Leo, a little bit of Aina and her sister.
Yeah.
And Cray.
Then you've
Even
got
Cray.
Cray, and we'll talk about Cray later, I guess. But can I talk about Leo for a sec?
Go.
I didn't get to jump on the bandwagon when Dominic was talking, but one of the other things I love about Leo is they have one of these like character arcs that I absolutely love, and I will to my dying day be a sucker for, and that is I have a very specific set of morals. And then those morals are called into question when he suffers great anguish and pain. And it's something that they didn't really like highlight forever or even really go that in depth to, but there's an entire section where he's just letting out all of his anger and his feelings that he had been holding in due to, you know, his entire like race of people being treated like shit, and to give that an actual that anger form and to have it go on a rampage. I don't know, I'm just a sucker for that.
That's pretty good.
I'm also a sucker for, you know, the calm, cool, collected one being put in his place by someone really fucking dumb. Like I just I just love those character tropes working together. It's something that I will love until my dying day.
I don't know why I didn't think that was going to be the follow-up, so I love it. I really appreciate that. Just being put in this place by someone dumb. Really
Yeah, basically. It's kind of like the same feeling I had whenever Gon would put Killua in his place when I watched Hunter x Hunter. It's just this feeling of, aw, you ain't right all the time, honey.
Aw, I love it. I love it. I love all these things I'm learning about you. Speaking of fucking dumb, can I talk for a second?
No? Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I wanted you to have your time on your Leo soapbox. I didn't want to interrupt that. So
No, you're good.
okay, all right.
I'd go on forever if you let me.
I mean, we may go back to it. Honestly, short, sweet, and to the point. I like Gallo a lot because he big, he fun, he very dumb. He's just a fun protagonist to follow. Like, I enjoyed all of his little quirks, his overconfidence and his need to always say his stupid, like, catchphrase. Like,
My burning passion.
yeah,
That
he's
bullshit.
just... He's so try-hard, but I think that he's also a character that very much means well. One thing that I think I was very happy for is when... I think Leo's moral challenge has more nuance to it, but I actually really like that when Gallo goes through a bit of that, he kind of just is like, I mean, he doesn't have any need to really hesitate on it, but he's really just like, oh, this is wrong. Okay, fuck you. I've got to go and find the right person. I like that. I think I thought just because of his nature and how abrasive he is, that he would, I don't know, just have some difficult struggle. But I love that he has enough of a sense of justice to be like, okay, this is fucked up. I'm dumb, but let me go help the handsome fire boy bring justice to the world. Like,
Light my fire!
yeah, exactly. So good on him. And they're a big old power couple.
I would never want to piss either of them off, to be fair.
Also, shout-outs to his voice actor in English, Billy Kometz, voice actor for Josuke Higashikata from JoJo Part 4. This is my first time actually hearing him, and he did an excellent job, in my opinion.
He did good.
Yeah.
I really liked the English dub of the show, or the movie, sorry. I think I like the Japanese more. But I do think that the English voice of Gallo was actually one of the more standout in the English cast. He did a really good job of really bringing that burning firefighter passion.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome.
One interesting thing that I liked, I know this is more production, but it also has to do with characters, since probably going to bring him up anyways, is the Japanese voice for Cray was actually, because we watched it dubbed first, and then we watched it subbed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so in the dubbed version, he's like his voice is very like he uses like the same voice.
Crispin
Like,
Freeman.
for both. Yeah, he's the same. He doesn't like when he kind of goes when he like the switch in his head flips later on in the movie. His voice range doesn't change too much. In Japanese, he's like very soft and like
Whispery.
soft and whispery. Like he sounds like a very soft boy.
Yeah.
How
And
strange.
then that switch.
And then the switch flips, and it's just like a 180-degree flip, and I actually really like that a lot.
It was good. It was a nice
It
production choice.
sold me on the character a lot more than the English version did.
Nice.
Yeah. For sure. It'd be very hard to talk about Cray without spoiling some aspects of the film, but
Yeah.
he was also a very interesting character, and I also like that a lot of his motivations are questioned in the second half of the film. There are characters that are like, why didn't you do this? Or why didn't you do
Yeah.
that? And it becomes very aware, like, what his intentions really are.
Yeah.
Which was a really cool thing that the movie did, and I think also plays into the story aspects of how characters act the way they do for like either very personal reasons or very non-personal reasons. They don't give a shit about
Yeah.
anybody else kind of reasons.
Yeah, you can tell he has an agenda, which I think fits a lot with the theme of this movie. Because, people who generally tend to try at least to commit genocide usually have some sort of agenda.
Mhm.
They're really not trying to
Mm-hmm.
actually do good.
Yeah. Shoot.
But going back to Gallo for a minute, I did not think I was going to like Gallo, to be honest, because I was one of the people who... Because, like, there's always that joke of, oh, he's just Kamina. But to be honest, I like Gallo a lot more than I liked Kamina, and I never really super liked Kamina either. I thought he was really loud. I thought that he had a really gross, googly eyes for girls, and I didn't like that. Whereas Gallo is a complete gentleman. Sort of.
Oh my god, that's one of my favorite scenes. Shit. Oh, yes.
He's not trying to get with the ladies, and I can appreciate that. He will, drop just about anyone on the ice.
I love
but,
that scene so much.
But yeah, the moment I found out that he wasn't a womanizer, and he wasn't stupid in the way that he thought he actually was better than everyone else, he actually just thought, I'm just really great, and I'm great with my team. And that's one of the lines that, like, gives me chills in the first fire fight every time. Is when, he's doing something by himself, and he's like, but you forgot, we are a team. And then it all comes together, and everything is just great and wonderful, and I love it. I love that Gallo is a team player, even though he kind of ends up on his own a lot.
Yeah.
Gallo's a good boy.
Yeah, he is.
He's loud and obnoxious and dumb, but he is in the best ways.
Well, exactly. Yes. It all works very well.
He's the better version of Kamina.
Ooh, hot tea.
Spilling it everywhere.
I still like Kamina a lot, so don't agree with that. But
I mean,
you're free to have your opinion, however wrong it may be.
Oh,
Whoa, there it is.
You're allowed to do. Honestly, like, I don't even hate Kamina. I just didn't like him as much as I like Gallo because, one of Kamina's first lines is talking about how Yoko has thunder thighs just because she's not from the surface. Like, he's kind of awful in that regard. But that's for a different podcast day.
So then,
one day, maybe.
If we wanted to touch on it briefly, I echo your thoughts about Aina and how, like, there's a small plot with her, and I appreciated what we saw of her. Would have been nice to see more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because the situation with her and her sister is used as kind of another underlying plot point to keep things going forward.
Yeah.
But the resolution of their whole thing seems a little bit far-fetched to me, considering, the amount of mass genocide that some people in this in this particular cast are kind of responsible for.
Yeah.
It's not very fleshed out.
I wouldn't even say it's not fleshed out. I feel like there was nothing like, no one was punished for their actions. Except for maybe one character who, got the hell beat out of them. But still at the end, I don't feel any like impending like, oh, they're going to go to jail or like suffer or anything. It's just, oh, I did a bad thing and now I'm going to try and make it right. All right, we're good. Kind of deal.
Yeah.
Slap on the wrist.
That's a good way to put it. I'm also glad that Ina wasn't actually pushed into the love interest role.
Yeah!
Good stuff.
I was very happy about that too. I also like that she showed up and saved the day herself a couple times.
Yeah.
Ina's pretty good.
So is that all we got for characters?
I think
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about more of them, but I feel like everybody else doesn't really play as much of a role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, we're gonna move on to production.
I got a bunch of shit to throw at you guys.
Okay,
Dun-dun-dun. It's time for Craig's Credit Corner!
Director
Oh!
Hiroyuki Imaishi, Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, Penny and Stocking. Writer Kazuki Nakashima, Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, Kamen Rider Forze. Character/mech designs Shigeto Koyama, Darling in the Bronx, Eureka 7, Ava Rebuild movie, Star Driver, Gurren Lagann. Music Hiroyuki Sawano. We all fucking love this boy. Or me and Dom do at least.
Sueno!
Thunderbolt Fantasy, Kill la Kill, Alden Note Zero, Attack on Titan.
Xenoblade X.
Yeah, Xenoblade X. Other fun trivia for you. This movie has grossed over 1.2 billion Japanese yen, over 12.68 million worldwide. The film has grossed over $1 million in the US alone as of September 30th via the G-Kids official Twitter. The film is still in select showings and select theaters. Go see it. The movie was trending on Twitter on the September 19th. The project was announced alongside Darling in the Bronx and Gridman and Anime Expo 2017. Also, Awakening is an Inferno or a literal bop. There you go.
Ugh.
I have more, but I don't want to completely hog production, because this is basically why I'm here, to fucking talk about this shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you got shit to talk about
I
it.
was about to say, I don't think there's much of a problem. All we're going to be talking about is the movie. So if you have more to say.
The 3D animation is produced by Sanzigen. Fun fact, they are the people that did the animation for Bang Dream Season 2 and 3.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yep.
That is very interesting.
Yep. They're, fun fact, Trigger and Sanzigen are companies that are under a parent company, so they offloaded some work to other production houses. And then, this movie is the most fucking Imaishi project ever. Big giant fucking text. I think this movie just takes all the elements of his previous works and just incorporates it. I love giant text. Kill la Kill has that as well, so yeah.
The
That's
giant
all.
text was a lovely touch.
That was fun.
Yeah. That's really all I got, other than minor gripes, which I'll save during my end cap thoughts, so.
Can I make a possible hot take?
Yeah.
I don't know how hot it is. It may not be a hot take, but I think this is my favorite Sawano soundtrack.
Ooh.
I think that there were some of them I really liked. Like, for example, All No Zero, hated that anime, loved the soundtrack, went back and listened to it several times. It's one of the first ones I actually bothered to, because I don't tend to listen to soundtracks. I'm not a music kind of person, typically. But I listened to a bit from there. I heard that he did some really cool tracks on, oh god, what was that one that you and John reviewed?
Recreators?
Recreators. So I listened to some of that music too, and I was like, this is Banff, this is awesome. But I think that I like this soundtrack the most. I think it's the most dynamic his music has been, and I think it's really just, it sounds different from his usual stuff, while also still sounding very Sawano. It's very interesting.
Zach agrees with you when we talked about it. He said, yeah, I'm not the biggest Sawano fan, but man, this movie rocks.
I like Sawano. Like when I hear he's on a production, I make it my mission to go and at least listen to the stuff that he does, because I think he's great. I also liked a lot of the stuff he did in Attack on Titan back in the day.
I forget about that.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still the main dude doing music, but I know that his music in season 1 was just like one of the reasons I stayed around.
He's on a lot of productions as well. Seven Deadly Sins, Blue Exorcist, to name a few.
But I think that this film is my favorite Sawano moment. I think it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know if anyone agrees with me.
No, I agree. I've listened to the vocal tracks. I've listened to the instrumentals. Why the fuck is it not on US iTunes is beyond me. Fuck you, iTunes Japan. Fucking, yeah. Also, I have not seen the Japanese, but I want to see it when it comes out on home video, but I really like the English track.
Mm-hmm. What were you going to say?
Just going back to the Sueno thing, it's up there for me. I think I still go back to the Xenoblade X stuff more, but that's just me.
Oh, yeah.
That's fair. To be fair, I have actually never played Xenoblade, so maybe my mind will change.
The stuff he did on that game is good.
I mean, maybe if you send me some tracks, I'll listen to them. Because
I don't know if he'd like them, but it's good.
I mean, I'll listen. The point is, I'm saying I'm open to it. I'm always open to some Sawano.
This soundtrack is so fucking good. For me, like, it was probably the soundtrack for me is my favorite production aspect of the entire film. And the soundtrack makes me want to punch a planet, and I mean that in like the best possible way. Like, it's so high octane and badass, and as Cassie said, dynamic. I honestly listen to it a lot when I'm like getting ready for work and I'm anxious, and then I just like pump myself up with it, and I'm like, damn, this just put me in a good mood. Fuck yeah.
I just like the fact that like interlaced between the soundtrack are like the same 4 or 5 insert songs is playing constantly, and it's just like,
and I don't care. It's perfect.
Yep. It highlights each moment. God, it's really hard to talk about this movie without spoilers, because fucking everything is escalated so much more by insert music.
It's awesome. And I think you used a really good word there with escalation.
Yeah, that's the entire movie.
Because the whole movie is just a bunch of escalation. Like, I think that I think it was Glass Reflection. I listened to his ramblings about this movie, and one of the things he said was, this movie had like 3 freaking climaxes for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, you think the movie's gonna be over, and then you realize, nope, it's still going. And that's just kind of what you're getting in regards to the story, but also in regards to the visuals. They hold no, what is it called? Hold no punches.
They pull no punches. They don't hold your hand. They pull
no punches when they decide to just take a cup full of colors and pour them directly into your eye sockets.
Lots of yellows, lots of pinks, lots of purples, to a point where I kind of braced myself for what this movie was by watching like a clip or two before the movie. If I recall correctly, I don't think Dom or Cass really knew that there were mechs in this. So
I had no idea.
Yeah, like literally
No
this
clue.
movie throws you in, and it's just like Gallo and his mech fighting Mad Burnish and his crew, and I'm like, Jesus, this is this is amazing. But I definitely need to go back and watch this again.
See, that's the thing is like, going into it, I didn't know, like, it starts you out, like, Gallo has, like, the small little, like, power, it's more like a power suit, really, than like a mech.
Yeah.
And then and I didn't know that was in it, I thought it was just about firefighters. And then it escalates to things I won't really say later, and it gets better.
Yeah.
It's just, if you like robots, I recommend it.
The guy next pose.
I think that the character designs in this movie are really cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
I like them a whole lot. I think that a lot of them are really good callbacks to like Trigger style, and I appreciated them greatly. And I think that the movements most of the time were really nice. Now, let's talk about the CG. Because I got a bone to pick with the CG in this movie.
You don't like
You got a bone to pick with every kind of CG.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, there's just like some really weird moments in this movie which are kind of take me out of the moment, because like suddenly, I mean, I think that for the most part the CG is well done. But I think when they switch from 2D to CG, sometimes it kind of threw me or made my eyes hurt a little bit. Like, just trying to adjust. I also just think that the first firefight that they go to is just very hard to follow. Yeah. But, again, I was really close to the screen both times watching the film. So maybe when I buy it on home media release and I'm able to sit on my couch a few feet away, maybe it'll be easier for me to follow. But I had a really hard time both times I went to the movie theater trying to digest what was going on, especially when Leo and Gallo started fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was really hard for me to follow, and there's a lot of CG to 2D switching in that scene. And some of it just gnawed at my eyes and my brain. Nothing like gratuitous or anything. It's just it was there.
I made the comment after seeing the movie with you two on the dub. I was like, yo, I know anime isn't released on it, but if they release this on 4K just to get like the highest fidelity, I would totally support that. Because, man, this movie's beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
It's lovely to look at. It also likes to one-up itself every time it has a super, like, dynamic scene.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you thought things were bombastic before.
Yeah.
Now there's Durgans, you know? Because why not?
Yes. That scene for me, like production-wise, probably everything. That scene is just fucking hype and incredible, and I loved it.
I just really want Kiyomi to get ready for work in the morning while listening to Leo's theme and then blow up a volcano. Like, I would just love to see you do it. You're going to cause the end of the planet.
Find me the nearest volcano. I will Naruto run there while listening to the Promare soundtrack. It'll blow it up. It'll be great.
Oh my god. That's the best mental image I've had in a very long time.
Always here for you. Always here for you. This is gonna sound weird, but this is actually just something that I thought was fun. This plays a lot with like geometric shapes and like cubes and stuff and triangles. Yep. And I really loved whenever they had a lens flare, it was like squares instead of circles for lens flares. My stupid little editor heart is like, oh, that's fun. I like that.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Maybe we could take just a couple of minutes. We already did earlier, but just to talk. I know Craig tried to steer it a little bit this way, but talk about the English dub maybe. And what you may have liked about it. And then in comparison, we can talk about the Japanese dub. We already kind of have, but I think we could say a couple more things.
Like I said, I just think on the whole it's pretty fucking awesome English dub. I don't have any touchstone to the Japanese outside of Ignis, the captain of Burning Rescue, voiced by my boy Rikiya Koyama, otherwise known as Japanese Kiritsugu from Fate Zero.
Oh man. Yeah.
The fun fact about the Japanese audio track, Leo, Gallo, and Cray are voiced by actual like live action TV and movie stars in Japan, versus in English, obvious voice actors. I don't remember the production company behind it. It's not Bang Zoom, but it's the production company is like founded by Michael Sarah Nicholas, the dubbing company. So Ina's voiced by the voice actors for Nurse Joy and Pokemon, fun fact. And then the
Ooh.
rest of them are all, like,
Huh.
LA based, so.
Interesting.
Which one did you see, Cammy? I can't remember.
We saw Sub. There was actually this moment where I think that's another reason we went to such a late showing. Like, and Get texted me and he was like, "Wait, did you buy his dub tickets? I'm gonna kill you." And then he's like, "Oh wait, no, they're Sub. Never mind. You're fine." And I'm like,
Wow.
I'm like,
Anti-dub agenda here.
Does
yeah,
he hate
his-
dubs that much?
No, he's being over dramatic, but he knew in a case he'd want to go see it Sub, so we did that. And I liked the Sub performances. It actually kind of blows my mind that like some of the actors weren't just like prolific anime actors. Zach informed me that Kenichi Matsuyama is Gallo, and I'm about to post a pic in chat of who else Kenichi Matsuyama is. He was L in Death
Yes.
Note.
Yes,
And
that
I
was
used
it.
to think he was so fucking hot when I was 16 and edgy and stupid. And I was just like, I can't draw this comparison because he's so withdrawn and like chill as L. I've watched the live action movies a couple times. And it's just crazy that then he's someone like Gallo and he does such a convincing job. So that man has range. Shout out to him.
Nice.
Fun fact about little FF about the Sub. So Leo's two other Mad Burnish
Oh, right.
members. The fluffy-haired one is Nobuyuki Hiyama, who
Why do you
plays Viral in Gurren Lagann.
Yep.
And the long-haired one is I forget his name. But he's the voice of Kamina also in Gurren Lagann.
Wild.
Yeah.
So a little FF for you there.
Little FF fun fact.
Yeah.
Yes, indubitably.
Yes.
Love it.
But yeah, I think I liked both. I liked both the English dub and the sub. I think I liked the sub better. For one reason, Leo is hotter in the sub. Just
yeah,
is.
Way
Just,
more.
just the way that he delivers lines, he's just so very, I don't want to say suave, but like just very, I don't know, entrancing. His voice acting performance is just so entrancing. Whereas in the English, though, I think that they really got his character down well. I think that he did a really good job, especially because Leo and Gallo both require a hell of a lot of yelling.
Mm-hmm.
And both sub and dub performances were great. I think I prefer the sub just because I like Leo a little bit better, and Gallo a little bit too. But then again, the English dub was also really damn good. And if you want to get your friends or family to watch this movie, I think that this would be a fun one to just show people in dub because it's just so crazy and random, but not with enough anime isms that you could like. For example, Rin took her mom to go see this movie today,
Right.
and it went over fine. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like I could make my mom watch this, and she wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, there's not like a ton of like surprisingly for a trigger like work. There's not like a ton of fan service or anything like that. There's these moments where like the shot is like laid out in a way where like Ina's butt is like right there in the forefront of the shot, but there's not like big old jiggling tickle bitties everywhere or anything like that.
There is fan
it's
service,
actually-
but it's not the fan service
Yeah,
you'd
it's-
expect. It's just
Yeah.
Well,
eye
yeah.
candy for fucking amazing mechs.
Yeah.
It's not horny is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, it has some horny moments, but like you said, if you're not used to watching anime, you're probably not even really going to notice them.
Yeah.
Like for example, there are scenes where Ina's in her I don't know what to call it. It's like a little helicopter thing that she flies around. And the way that she's positioned is a la Darling in the Franxx.
Yeah.
And it shows shots from behind her and in front of her that both look a little bit sexual. But if you don't watch anime, you're not going to immediately know to look for that.
Yeah.
Her outfit is also kind of like head tilt, okay. But at the same time, it's not so bad that I'm like, yeah, she's fallen out of that crop top, you know?
Mhm.
Like, It's not that bad. Me and Rin were talking about this, and she's like, yeah, there's no fan service in this. And I'm like, there is, but it's not that bad.
It's very minor. It's not the kind of thing it's the kind of, you can go watch this with most members of your family, and they're not going to look at you weird.
Yeah.
At least about...
Well, not about that, at least. They'll probably look at you weird for the second half of the film, but that's where the fun is.
So yeah, does anybody have anything else to say on production?
It's just such a really cool looking film. It
looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good. Also, something that I appreciated is there are Easter eggs all throughout this film for people who are Trigger fans. There are drills for no reason. As a callback to Gurren Lagann. I might just be completely out of my mind, but I thought I caught one with the, there's like a section of the film where there's like a little Burnish community, and there's a girl hanging up clothes, and she looks very similar to Akko from Little Witch Academia.
Nice.
There's a lot of like little Easter eggs hidden throughout this film. Obviously Gallo being kind of one of them, because he looks just like Kamina.
Yeah.
I think that was a choice. And not a bad one. I like it. But there's definitely a lot of nods and winkies here and there for those of you who have been fans of the studio for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo.
So y'all want to do some ratings?
Hell yeah.
I'm going last.
Hell yeah.
Why do you get to go last?
Because this is my pick.
Oh.
I mean...
That's how it works.
Kinda?
It's my pick. We're only reviewing this because I put it on the schedule. I'm going last.
It's her show, Dom.
I mean, fine, whatever.
Fight me.
I mean, I can.
Okay, come out. Come here.
Anyways.
Let's engage in some fisticuffs.
Ignoring her for a second. Craig, what's your rating? What do you think?
Short, succinct, and to the point. I love this movie. It's a fucking fun ride. I was grinning ear to ear the entire fucking movie. It's like Imaishi just one-upping himself in every aspect. Sure, this movie does have flaws. Some of it is like your eyeballs will fall out of your head when watching this movie. But let it happen, because it's a fucking fun ride.
Happen.
However, I will say there are some gripes with this movie. We'll talk about them in the spoiler room, but there's a lot of ideas here, and while I like it as a movie form and it maintains a tight budget, I feel as though there are some points that are brought up and then, as we said, dropped, especially in the front half, to like just make everything escalate in the back half. Also, as Cass said, there are a lot of callbacks. She did mention one of them, which Zach actually brought up to me. There's a elevator that is kind of similar to Evangelion in this movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't get that. There's also a ship that kind of is like an Evangelion thing, and I'm like, oh cool. So yeah, this movie's fucking fun. Gonna buy that. Kids, go see this movie, kids. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, Cammy, go.
All right. This movie is hype as hell. It is really fun. We were excited when we went to go see it. We walked out of the movie theater really hype. I laughed at a lot of times. I looked over at my fiance with this look of audacity and a big grin on my face, and I was just like, yeah, this is it. This is what we're here for. This film, I think if you are a Trigger fan, this is just going to be absolutely bonkers and blow your mind. And I do think even if you're not familiar with Trigger's works, I think that you could find this really enjoyable. It's a really, really fun film. I think for whatever reason, on my end, Trigger films, I think for me, don't have as much of like a really like lasting staying power where I like really, really, really get into them. But like at the same time, I really can't think of like flaws in this film. Really? Like they're all so minor compared to all the things that this film does, that this film just does really, really well. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a like it. I think it's super good, and I think if it's in your wheelhouse, you are just going to love the fuck out of it, and like, why not? Of course. Like, it is there to be enjoyed. Get out there. Go love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is their
Right,
battle.
So
Oh no, you're gonna
Yeah.
go.
I guess I'm next. Yeah. So I'm gonna just come out here and just be like, I'm not super big on Trigger. I really like Gridman.
And that's about it.
And that's about it.
Maybe the Little Witch Academia movies, but that's about it.
I liked like the first Little Witch. I watched the first like Little Witch Academia OVA and was like, yeah, it was kind of cute. And then I didn't watch like literally anything else. Didn't like Kill la Kill. I guess Luluco was cute, but I wasn't like, I'm not super into like shorts.
Nah. But Inferno Cop though.
I might like Inferno Cop.
You will.
Yeah, this so I went in this film kind of expecting it to be like kind of enjoyable, but not like it wasn't gonna like blow me away. But I actually really, really liked this movie. It kind of has that thing that Trigger does. It, to me, is kind of like a roll my eyes, kind of like, yeah, you guys are still clinging to how you your Gynax days, but it does it well, surprisingly enough. And so I had a lot of fun. It also did quite a few things that actually surprised me that I was not expecting it to do at all, and so that made the experience a lot better. So yeah, we're all, me, Cassie, and Craig are all definitely going to buy this movie when it comes out. So I love it a lot.
Yeah.
I give it a love it.
I love it.
Give it a love it.
Whoa.
Damn.
Whoa.
Damn.
Gets that ASMR, that ASMR treatment. Is that good?
Yeah, it does.
So I'm gonna preface my turn by saying, if anyone tells me that I don't like fun, I now have a way to slam this in front of them and say, what do you mean?
Not gonna work on me.
You don't like fun, Cass. I'm sorry.
Not gonna work on me.
But I love Promare, and it is literally just fun. I have a really hard time, in general, when it comes to anime, getting behind, I don't want to call it stupid, but like really bombastic plots without a lot of explanation, and
JoJo.
Also just, yeah, like for example, I never could get into JoJo. I tried. I gave it a chance, and like the most recent season was the closest it got to actually kind of hooking me, and then we never finished it, so you kind of can see where that went. But like,
so do I have permission to go on with that?
Yeah, you can go on your own if you
I
want.
figured as
The
much.
funny thing is this is the 5th time you've asked me that question, and
Is it?
it is, and every time I'm like, yeah, sure. The funny thing is, the first time you brought it to my attention, you were like, by the way, just letting you know, I'm going on without you, and I'm like, oh.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
And I was like, okay. And then you started asking me, and I'm like, okay, that's fine.
The
But anyway,
distinct
the point
tang
is,
of a liar.
the point is when there's more bombastic, like just stuff going on screen than there is plot, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be a huge fan. However, there's something about Trigger that I'm able to embrace that, and also all of the little things that it's trying to do in the background, because I do think that Trigger is very loud and it is very colorful, but it also, Trigger's moments also thrive in its silence. Some of the most fantastic scenes from this film were some of the more quiet ones. I appreciated the little conversation on the lake that Aina and Gallo had. I loved the scene at the end of the movie where Leo's letting go of a part of himself. But I also love all the bombastic craziness that was in tow as well. I think that this show has a lot of, or not this show, this movie has a lot of things that it tries to do. And I think in some ways that's to its detriment, because we don't get to spend a lot of time with characters that I would have liked to, due to it being in a movie kind of, centric story. But all the things that it does well, it does great, and it works in tandem with those parts that are still there, and they're still little hidden gems. So I really love this movie, and I really love Trigger, and I really love Gurren Lagann, and I really liked Luluco a lot.
Fun fact, after watching this movie...
I don't care for Kill la Kill.
Fun fact, after watching this movie, I went out of my way to go watch Kisniver, and I'm going to watch when supernatural battles becomes commonplace. I basically have now watched almost all of their Trigger productions, so yay.
And I liked Kids Niver too. I think that I told Dominic recently that Trigger is one of my top studios, and they were super surprised. But this is my brand of fun. Trigger is my brand of fun. And I think that I will always love most of the things that they put out, except for Kill la Kill.
You would not like that show at all.
I put my foot down there. I can't. I gotta ban everybody has a moment where they abandon the fun boat. Trigger is my fun boat, and I will abandon it when, like, literally titties are what your plot is about.
I
like Kill la Kill. I watched it twice over. I
don't have a problem with the premise so much as I just thought it kind of nosedived towards the end.
That also I can get. The main villain of that show is really fucking stupid.
I can get behind its premise. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's just towards the end I think it kind of nosedives and just becomes the final episode is just Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll talk about Kill la Kill, but it won't be today.
I have a question.
Make it a host choice.
No.
Oh no.
Do it.
Nope.
Do it.
Nope.
Do it. Do it.
Do
Nobody. Nope. I'll watch it.
Nope.
Anyway, what were you gonna say, Cammy?
I have a question for those of you who, basically all three of you, who are more versed in Trigger shows than I am. I guess, where does this show rank? Or not this show. Where does Promare rank in, like, your fave triggers? Is it, like, number one?
It's at the top. It's number one, baby.
Damn, it surpassed Gurren Lagann?
Like, yeah, well, the thing is, I can't technically count Gurren Lagann because that was Gainax.
Okay, yes.
But if I'm allowed to count Gurren Lagann, then it would probably be Promare, then SSSS.Gridman, then Gurren Lagann.
Gotcha.
And then everything else. What about you people?
If I'm allowed to count Gurren Lagann, I'm not sure. I think I haven't watched the actual TV series for Gurren Lagann since it aired, because I was watching it back then.
Well, I have it on DVD Blu-ray.
I know.
It's also on every platform to stream.
Yeah, I'm well aware. But the last time I watched that series was with the movies, which I don't think are as good.
No, they are not. No.
Yeah. So I think I should probably revisit that before I make a executive decision on whether Promare is better or not.
Yeah,
that's fair.
If I'm just counting, like, stuff that's been made by Trigger since they were Trigger, then yes, it's probably my favorite thing they've made.
Awesome.
Gridman being a very close second.
Yeah, Gridman is so very good. So very good.
That's cool shit.
Yeah. I do want to say that we do have a recommendation for today that I can't talk a whole lot about because I haven't seen it, but we wanted to recommend Redline due to its I don't know if I should be taking off my clothes. Like,
no, it's okay. This is not Kill la Kill. We just talked about this.
But yeah, due to its high budget for one, it's a visual spectacle, and also because it is also a film that I have been told continuously one-ups itself in regards to the hilarity and nonsense of the plot.
Yeah, Redline is fantastic. I think if you like animation or impressive animation in general, Redline is like one of the top 5 films I think you have to go see because they spent like 7 years hand drawing this movie.
Madhouse.
Madhouse.
It's the director's passion project for 7 years. We did an anime movie night on it over at Save Our Progress, so go listen to it over there.
Yeah, and then they didn't invite me, so...
you didn't ask!
Yeah, they didn't invite me, even though I'm pretty sure I watched this movie before.
You didn't ask!
So,
look at that shade.
Damn!
So,
fucking talk to Zach about that shit.
He doesn't like me.
Wow.
Anyways,
I'll let him know that you said that.
So, yeah, if you like this movie, 100% check out Redline. I believe it is on YouTube, actually, which is weird, but it's on YouTube officially for free. You can watch it. If you want to watch it in high definition, I believe the Blu-ray goes for like $5 to $10, maybe $20 at most on places like Amazon. So, yeah, totally worth a good movie.
Oh, wow, you're right. Free with ads. You can watch it on YouTube, free with ads. Cool.
Yep.
That's pretty neat. There was also, I brought him up earlier, but I just really want people to go and listen to Glass Reflection's ramblings about this movie, Promare, because he also brought up Redline, and he's like, some people are trying to say that the opening to Promare is the best opening for an anime film, and I can't agree with them because Redline exists. And
I mean, that's fair.
And I was like, I have not seen Redline, but I do respect your opinion. But yeah.
I don't know if you would like Redline.
I don't know.
Probably not.
I might. I will. I honestly, at this point, I just watch stuff when people say I won't like it just to kind of vex them. Because people were like, Cassie, you won't like Devilman Crybaby. And I'm like, actually, I liked this show a lot. It was just, some of the ending shit didn't make a lot of sense to me. I honestly don't think a lot of people would have thought I would like Promare either. But I did.
I've heard people say that Redline's better than Promare, and to them I say, no.
Is it? I actually have no idea. I've heard people say that Redline is a better visual, like...
Visually
yes.
Redline is better.
Yeah.
But the person in question says the ending of Redline's better than Promare, and to that person I say...
Wait,
sure.
what are you talking about?
Zach
Zach
likes Redline over Promare, and I'm like,
I mean, I can't really fault him for that. Redline's pretty damn good.
I
But
haven't seen
he likes the ending of Redline more, and I'm like, I don't get that at all.
I don't know. I haven't seen Redline, so I can't make that call. But
I'm gonna have to force Cassie to sit down and watch it.
Well, you have the entire evening to your open, so I can throw the Blu-ray at you.
Not today.
Oh no, they're gonna play Dragon Quest because I made them watch anime.
I got work tomorrow. I can't watch any more anime today. I have to sit down and play video games because I have work tomorrow.
Yeah, we watched 3 episodes of Paranoia Agent. So, speaking of which, have fun
and
next
Demon
week.
Slayer.
And yeah, we did. We did watch the last episode of Demon Slayer, much to my chagrin.
I gotta watch that.
And then I cried. Much like this movie has also moved me to tears in hindsight. One thing that... You see, this review has been just as ADHD as the movie was. So, if you liked this podcast, you'll probably like Promare.
There you go. There it is.
I don't know if we are going to do a spoiler room. Do you guys want to...
I don't have anything particular I feel need
I would honestly say we've covered our gripes to an extent. This movie is basically... It does have moments that I feel as though are best experienced in the moment, rather than actually, like, just saying, yo, dude, fucking this happens, and you're like, well, cool. It's a gush fest.
It's just a really good movie, and if you have time, I'm pretty sure the internet has blown up to the point by now that you've at least seen Promare. If somehow you've never heard of it, I'm pretty sure you as an anime fan have seen it somewhere. And I would recommend you picking up on those social cues, because sometimes, where there's smoke, there is fire, and this movie will set your heart ablaze.
Oh, shit!
Yeah. Please watch Promare. It's a really, really good movie. And I love it a lot. And I actually turned down the amount of gushing that I was planning to do for this review. I really love this movie a lot, and I want more people to see it. And already a lot of people have seen it, and I still think more people need to see it.
Well, and the sales go with you, and the distributors go with you, considering that it was originally only a 2-day showing deal, and now it's been in theaters for like weeks because they keep adding showings. It's awesome.
Well, yeah, because they're like, well, shit, this is a cash cow. Keep it in.
Yeah.
Why pull it out when we're making so much money?
Like, for a note on the quality, that doesn't typically happen with a lot of anime films. So, I mean, that just shows you how enjoyed it is by audiences.
Unless you're Dragon Ball or My Hero Academia at this point.
I think that the last one that actually blew up and had like additional showings that like afterwards was like Your Name.
Yeah.
That's the last one I remember where this level of money was made and that much more extra time was given to it in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm impressed. I am very impressed. Would you say that you liked Promare more than Your Name, Cammy?
Oh, heck yeah.
Good.
I
Awesome.
hope so.
Perfect. That's all I needed. My validation is here. It's back, baby.
Oh my god. Good. I'm glad you're pleased.
Yeah, I honestly don't have a whole lot else to say.
Yeah.
We can get out of here.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Then I will give us our social links. I almost completely forgot about those. So yeah, since we're getting out of here, if you would like to find us on this social media, we have a Twitter, twitter.com/AnnieChatbox. If you want to send us fan mail, like things we can read on the podcast, and it would make Cassie very happy, we have a Gmail. It is anniechatmail@gmail.com. And you can send us mail there, and we will read it. And
why are you talking like that?
What is going on right now?
I don't know.
I like it.
And then if you're listening to us on a specific platform, but you're wondering, what else? What other places can I listen to the Annie Chat Box on? Well, we are also on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube.
Woot.
Our Patreon is patreon.com/AnnieChatbox. If you like our content and also would like to give us money, because we don't have a lot of it, you can go to our Patreon and pledge whatever fucking amount you want. There are some rewards for doing so and stuff. And you can also just feel really good about supporting us and what we do, even though what we do is not that great.
Wow.
I mean, where's the lie?
I mean, okay, but Jesus. 911, I'd like to report a group murder.
Yeah. I mean, I murdered all of us, including myself, so it's okay.
Murder-suicide.
Yeah. So, our patrons currently are Sarah, CorpsyAnn, Carol, Suki, Paul, and TroubleClef. Big shout-outs to them for putting a roof over our box.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Also incredibly sad.
Yeah.
Now we became Schrodinger's cat.
No, yeah. If you want to hear more Craig,
Hey.
and occasionally the rest of us, but most likely not me because they hate me.
Wow!
No!
You can listen to Save Our Progress at soundcloud.com/saveourprogress, where Craig and his crew, Zach, Paul, and Pete.
Wow! Forgot about Pete's existence. He's there, he makes puns, he plays that Destiny game and won't shut the fuck up about it.
He plays that Destiny game all the time, yeah. They will talk about things, and Craig and Zach usually will do an anime movie night every month, where they talk about an anime movie, and then they don't invite me. And,
oh my fucking god.
Last one they talked about Promare,
yeah.
So you can...
And they didn't invite either of us.
They didn't invite me, so I don't.
Yeah, I feel a little offended, actually. I wanted to talk about Promare twice, but no!
Yeah.
You know, it was funny because before coming into this, I was like, why do I need to talk about Promare twice? I already gushed about it. And then I was like, I'm gonna let them talk. And then when production hits, then I'll just won't shut the fuck up about it. Fun fact, you can also find the Redline. That was episode 120 in that feed. Fun fact about that, actually, I didn't realize this. That actually came out the day after Valentine's Day this year, so cool.
Aw.
Yeah.
Happy
snuggle up-
Valentine's Day. Let's go
snuggle
speed
up with
away
your
in a
lover
car.
and watch Redline.
Yeah.
That sounds like a perfect way to spend Valentine's Day. to
I
me, honestly.
mean,
Watch some Redline.
where's the lie?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's Annie Chatbox. We talked about Promare. Thanks for listening to us. Bye-bye!
Boy.
Please watch Promare. I'm begging you. I'm on my hands and knees. Please watch it. Watch it.
Bye-bye.